First of all, the user can launch the Simanco platform by simply clicking on the map. To enable these functionalities, the user must log in, simply by clicking on the sign in and loading the password they have been allocated. Using the directional functions here, you can pan out, and this gives you a nice overview of the city of Newcastle upon Tyne. The user is going to select urban score, income score from the urban indicators drop-down list. The green indicates areas of high income and the red areas of low income. So the user is particularly interested in the areas of low income. So using the direction functions again, the user can pan in and identify some of the buildings in the low income area. So now the user has identified a low income area within the west end of Newcastle upon Tyne. Now within that area they want to launch load a urban energy model. So they can do that by selecting that here, load the model, and using preloaded data they have identified an urban energy model for that neighbourhood. So they can do that by launching this one here. It's an urban energy model for Newcastle. It has one plan and 3 projects within the plan. So now we have the urban energy model for this neighbourhood loaded, and what we can do now is use the urban indicators for this neighbourhood and have a look at some of the indicators, the building indicators. So we'll look at estimated energy SAP rating. So immediately going into this neighbourhood, you can see that some of the properties are quite well insulated, illustrated by a high SAP level, green shading here. But we can see that some of the properties aren't as good performers in relation to energy efficiency. So some of them have a low SAP rating. So now we can load a plan within the urban energy model to deal with these properties. And here you have for this neighbourhood, which is the Kenilworth Road neighbourhood. It's a Kenilworth Road retrofit scheme. It's a refit scheme. So within this plan we have 3 projects. So we'll load this plan. You can go into the projects and you can see there's 3 projects, 3 proposals for this neighbourhood. There's an insulation based proposal, a renewables based proposal, and a targeted refit option. And we'll just go back to plan. So this is what it is before interventions by using this toggle here, and you can compare it with the project, so post interventions if you like. So here we can see some of the properties have relatively low SAP ratings, and then once the project is selected you can see the level of improvement per property. Okay, so by clicking on this property here you can see that before intervention it had a SAP rating of 46.4, and then after intervention, insulation based refit, you have 78.3, so quite a significant improvement. Also the CO2 emissions have improved dramatically, lowering the CO2 emissions and dramatically lowering the energy consumption. Energy efficiency officer can extract this information by taking screenshots and presenting this information back to his or her superiors to illustrate what the impact would be. So now the user has successfully loaded an urban energy model. They've loaded a plan within the urban energy model and loaded 3 projects within the plan. Now the user wants to compare the performance of each project against each other, and here you can see each of the 3 proposals summarised. So you've got insulation, renewables and targeted based fabric. And here you get a nice summary screen representing the outputs, that if each of these retrofit options were deployed, this would be the output. So you can see the SAP rating here for the insulation based refit has improved to 81.6, for the renewables based refit 67.09, and targeted refit, fabric refit 78.48. So very quickly the user is gaining an appreciation for how the SAP level would be improved, and they can see that for the SAP level it certainly looks like the insulation based refit has the more beneficial option. It lifts it by 15.67. In relation to CO2 emissions, the insulation based refit comes out top again, followed in second place by the targeted fabric based refit option, and then the renewables refit option. So just by looking at each of the options here, you can see that insulation based refit seems to provide a higher ranking. So it's quite a useful tool which the user can utilise by taking screenshots again and presenting back to his or her management.